welcome to What If We Can Change It All, the podcast, a podcast created by Movement.medicine. My name is Janina, and I believe that we have the power, and therefore we can change it all. So this podcast is all about reclaiming your power. Hello, beautiful people. Before we start today's episode, I want to say two things. One is that I finally recorded my new intro. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I've promised this, I think it's already a month ago. I promised that I would do it when I was feeling better because I had the cold. And then I totally forgot to do it. But this is not sitting right. But now I finally did it. It's exactly the same as it was, but then it's only my voice, so if you didn't notice it, good actually. The other thing is that I recently, Monday, I had my free event Reclaiming Forgiveness, and it was so beautiful, and it was so powerful to see the transformations that were happening, and that people were actually able to forgive a certain situation or a certain person in their lives, right? Because that was really the purpose of the event. And yeah, it was really beautiful to see and to witness everyone. So if you were live, I truly want to thank you again. If you didn't sign up or didn't do didn't join the workshop, I actually recorded it. So if you do want to have it, you totally can. You can just send me a little DM on Instagram. Just send me a little DM on Instagram or maybe react on this video, and then we can get in contact with each other. Because if you want to watch it back, you still can. The recording will be available till May 20th, so you still have some time to watch it. It is just an hour. I think that was the two things that I wanted to talk about. I was thinking about a topic that I actually wanted to tap into today, and I was reflecting back on my own journey and the decisions that I made during my journey, especially the beginning. And it is also something that I see with the people that I work with and with my clients, right? Is that sometimes we feel like some people in our life just aren't aligned anymore. And we have the feeling that we have to say goodbye to certain dynamics or certain friendships or certain relationships. But this can actually be very, very hard to do. And sometimes we feel like a jerk when we do it, right? And I just want to say that I also did this a couple of times, actually. And it has actually made my journey very valuable, but also it really helped me to understand what kind of people I want around me and with what energy I want the people to have around me. And therefore, I really got to enjoy this and really got to deepen my relationship with myself as well. And I think that is a really important point that I want to make, is that of course there is a chance that you will hurt someone, but there's also a chance that you will hurt yourself if you don't do it. And I know that sounds a bit harsh, but it is actually really true. There is this saying, and I believe Trent Shelton said it, but I'm not completely sure. But there's this saying that you don't leave people behind, people stay behind. And this sounds even harder, but there's a lot of truth in it, actually. Because you choosing to maybe end a certain relationship or friendship, which are also relationships, doesn't mean that that person isn't good enough. It doesn't mean that you are better than that person. What it means is that you just aren't aligned anymore. And I think being aligned and being in alignment is a big word that is thrown around a lot. But what I'm trying to say with not being aligned with someone is that you just maybe have different interests, or you have different ways of living, or you don't really understand each other anymore like you used to. Because when you start with a journey and really start to cultivate a better relationship with yourself, you also start to long different things from your people, right? So it's not necessarily about them, it's just the things that you are trying to call in. It's just about calling in the things that you are trying to create for yourself. So in that sense, you don't leave people behind, people stay behind. Because it all comes back actually at decisions, right? Because you are making a choice to do a deep dive within. You are making a choice to go for the things you want. And they are probably also making that choice, but then on a total different way. And I did this a couple of times in my journey as well. And I can really say that it honestly really gave me a lot. And it also made my journey easier in a way, because when something or someone isn't aligned anymore, you also are most likely to get frustrated or to get more irritated because you're not really understanding each other anymore, right? So in that sense, it is a bit easier. Although, like, the action of like maybe saying goodbye to some people can be quite painful and quite hard for yourself as well. But it doesn't always have to be. And this is the point that I really want to make, right? Because a couple of years ago, I also made this commitment, because it was just in the beginning of my journey, and I felt like some of my friends, we just had total different interests, because I started to live in a different way, right? I started to live in a more embodied way. And therefore, some of the things that would before bond us were not bonding us anymore. So, for example, I really loved to complain about everything in my life. And yeah, I really loved to complain about everything that wasn't working, everything that someone else did, like kind of being in the victim role and kind of being a victim of life and a victim of circumstances, right? And at a certain point, I started to totally shift that. So for me, it really didn't help to have people around me that still were in that complaining mentality, because that was something that I wanted to distance myself from. Not because of them, but because of me, because I knew it wasn't helping me, right? So for me to be in that energy didn't feel good anymore. For me to be in that energy felt actually quite draining. Not because they were literally soaking up my energy, not because of that, but more so because with every complaint, I was getting irritated. With every complaint, I was not only getting irritated, but I was also kind of sort of started to think about things that were not good in my life, but that I didn't like about that circumstance. And of course, that is healthy, right? But to be constantly complaining was not the energy that I wanted to be in. So therefore, I knew that I needed to make a shift. I knew that I needed to call in new people in my life. I knew that these people, persons, no, these people, well, whatever it is, that this wasn't in alignment anymore, because it wasn't the person that I wanted to truly embody. So therefore, I made a decision, and therefore, they stayed behind. And staying behind doesn't mean that I am better than them. Staying behind doesn't mean that they are less of a good person. And staying behind doesn't mean that our friendship wasn't really a friendship. What it does mean is that I just made different choices. What it does mean that is that there was not really the thing that used to connect us didn't connect us anymore, because I wasn't connected to it, right? And this is in multiple things. And the beautiful thing is that this was the most healthiest decision that I could make for myself, because I didn't want to be irritated. And I also, like, that's not fair towards me, but it's also not fair towards them, right? Because at the end of the day, like, who are you fooling? And yourself and the other person. And I think what I find really important about this topic is that you actually hear it a lot. And I hiccup. You actually hear it a lot, and like, it is something that is advised a lot, but sometimes it isn't as easy, and sometimes you know what to do and you know what needs to happen, but doing it is sometimes a very big step, especially when, like, you don't really feel aligned with your whole friend group, because you also don't want to be alone. So therefore, like, I do want to tell a story. Like, back in 2020, I also had the feeling that one of my friendship wasn't really aligned anymore. And like, the smallest thing would actually irritate me, which wasn't fair towards that other person, because that other person had no idea, right? And at a certain point, I really knew that I needed some space. So we had a little conversation, and I said that I just needed some space. And at that time, that person didn't really get it, and the reaction was different than I expected. But with the knowledge that I have now, is that that person also needed some time, right, to just digest everything. And now we actually recently connected again, and we are more aligned, right? Because that person also made different decisions and is doing different actions. So therefore, now the thing that used to bond us didn't bond us anymore. So I decided to take some space. And now we both had some space. And this person is actually making similar decisions as I am. So now we are very aligned. And our friendship is, like, strong. Right? So it doesn't always have to mean that when you choose to do it, it is a farewell or forever. Right? Because it doesn't have to be. Sometimes you just need some space. Sometimes you need to grow out in order to grow in again, right? It's also what's happening with trees, right? Like, the leaves on the trees are, like, green, and then they certainly in fall or, like, winter, they start to become brown, and in winter they drop, and then there's new leaves again. So that is also nature's natural cycle. So why not also grant yourself that? Right? Because then it comes back, and I know I say this sentence a lot, but, like, how much do you allow yourself to have, and also in terms of your relationships? And for me, it really made room for new people in my life, right? And to be honest, like, not all of those people are still in my life, because you're constantly growing and evolving, and they are constantly growing and evolving. So it's not always you saying goodbye or taking space. The other persons can also do it. And sometimes, like, honestly, you don't even realize that it is happening, because it's just a natural way it goes, right? But you are very active with it consciously. So I hope this makes sense, right? Because I think it is a very important topic. Yeah. What I could also really notice, especially in the beginning, when I started to dream really big and, like, go for my goals and, like, go for my desires, I could really notice that when I spoke them out loud to certain people, you can just feel that someone doesn't believe you and doesn't believe that you can actually do the things that you say you're gonna do, right? So, or they make a little joke, or I don't know, they tease you a bit, or they just say that there's no way that it's gonna happen. Like, for me, that also was a big sign that if I am truly are going to believe in myself, if I'm truly going for what I want, if I'm truly, truly, truly tapping into my own energy and, like, embodying this version of me, then it doesn't feel good to be in that energy of someone who's constantly doubting what I am believing, trying to believe in, and trying to accomplish. Because at the end, someone making a little comment or someone making a little joke is also causing you to doubt yourself. And that doubt is actually not going to take you where you want to go. Right? So especially when you're at a point in your life that you really feel that something is needed in order to change, I would say, like, look at the people, the 5 people that you spend the most time with. Because you have a lot of the same qualities in common with them, right? But are those qualities actually something that you want to embody? Like, I didn't want to be a complainer the rest of my life. And don't get me wrong, sometimes I do complain because sometimes we just have to vent, right? I'm not saying that I'm perfect and I never complain. But there's a huge difference with me with 5-6 years ago and now. And the decision that I made is a big part of that. So let's see if I have another example. So let's say that you want to consume less alcohol, right? If your friend group is like going out on a Thursday, on a Friday, on a Saturday, and when you hang out, there's also like a glass of wine involved every time, it's going to be pretty hard for yourself to drink less. Right? Because there's a good chance like the thing that is bonding you is maybe partying or like just having a fun time and like dancing and whatever it is, right? The thing that bonded you is no longer bonding you. So now when someone makes a little comment like you can have one drink, right? Or like just go with us tonight. You don't have to drink, just go with us tonight. And in the end of the night, you're there with a glass of wine, beer, or whatever your poison is, right? Yeah. Like, do you see where I'm going with this? Then it doesn't make sense to still hang around. So what you can do is like see them less or plan different activities. And you don't also have to say to the person that you aren't aligned anymore. You don't even have to say that. What I said is that I just needed some space because I was really focusing on myself. So it felt good for me to have some space, right? Or to, yeah. And you can be honest with them, right? Just say like, I feel like we are focusing on different things right now. But then again, the magic word sometimes is space. Because that is what you need, right? You don't need to end the friendship because you can come back together. The thing that you need is space. So that's being really honest. Oh, I lost my thought. There was something else that I wanted to say. I forgot it. Wasn't important then. So I hope this really helps you also to maybe, I don't know, look at your own friendship or look at the 5 people you spend most time with, right? Are they still giving you energy or are they only taking energy? Are they supporting where you want to go or are they keeping you back? And like, it's just natural to have cycles. Like some people are just for your life, in your life for a chapter, right? And then a few chapters go by and then they suddenly appear again. But it's really good to notice that some people are just in your life for a period of time, for just a cycle. And you get the lessons, you get the enjoyment, you get the funny stories, and you get to have all those beautiful moments and funny moments and maybe sad moments together, right? And then you also have the ability to create something like that with someone else. It's just a natural way of being. So why not make that commitment to yourself first, and always make that commitment to yourself first, to grant yourself the best relationships in life, to grant yourself the most beautiful moments, and to build that with yourself first. And that is a big act of self-love. to really want that for yourself is a big, big, big act of self-love. So why not start? So why not start to do it? Like, it comes back on boundaries, right? If someone is constantly stepping over your boundaries again and again and again and again, then is it still worth it? Because at the end of the day, it is you just not understanding each other anymore. And when the understanding is gone, is it still worth it? Right? If you have a friendship with a group of friends and they're just partying and you take the partying out, is there still a friendship there? If you're constantly complaining and you take the complaining out, is there still a friendship there? Is there still a common thing that is bonding you? And there is a chance there is. And then you have to be clear, like, hey, I'm doing this thing and I'm trying not to complain that much. Or, hey, I'm trying to drink less and party less and more, like, be more active in the morning. That's also fine. If there's still a friendship there after you take that out, good. Nothing wrong with it. But if there isn't, then maybe it's a good time to ask yourself certain questions, right? And maybe you can even journal about this. Like, what do I want in my relationships? What do I need in my relationships? How can I fully embody the person that I want to become or that I am already? Like, how can I live the way I want to live? And what people do I see in that? Like, what are some qualities that I want to have in my friends? Or in a partner or whatever it is, right? It is just some food for thought. And I think it is, sometimes it is just necessary to do this, to have a big clean. Same as you do in your apartment. A big spring clean or summer clean or winter clean or fall clean, however you want to call it, right? I think I'm just going to keep it short and sweet. Just some food for thought. Is there anything else I want to share? No, I guess not. If you want to have access to the replay of Reclaiming Forgiveness, please send me a little message. I guess that. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I do need to say it. And just to tell your friends, it's other friends. If you want to stay up to date about like things that I'm doing, I'm launching my new signature program very soon. And I also have a little bonus included in that. So if you want to know more about that, I would actually also say to watch Reclaim Forgiveness, also because then you get to know me a bit and also the way I teach and the way I support people. So I think it might be very helpful, might be good. If you're interested with working with me, you can always join my mailing list. You can just do so with my website, Movement.medicine.net or .net, English. Or just watch my Instagram because I announce there as well, like things very soon. I think that's all I want to share for today. Have an amazing day or evening whenever you are watching or listening to this. And I will be back very, very soon.